Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today in the Crazy Baker Kitchen we're going to be making a cherry bakewell. Please subscribe and please share, and don't forget your recipes below the video in the description, and also you'll find it on my Facebook page at The Traditional Bakery. Anyway, we'll get right on with the video. And now for the recipe. You want 180 grams of plain flour, 90 grams of butter, 45 grams of castor sugar, and 22 ounces of water. The first thing you need is a bowl. Now we'll pop in our butter and our flour. I've already previously sieved this. Right, and what we're going to do is make a crumb. You can use a machine if you like, but I always find it much easier just to do it by hand. Always use butter that has been softened. A good thing is to actually leave your butter out overnight in the room to get it up to room temperature. Well, that's the crumbs. And now we'll add our sugar and our water in. And now we're going to mix this up so it's in a sort of a dough. And if you do need a little bit more water, you can always add it in. And the idea is to make it fairly short. Right, now we'll get it onto the worktop. Now all we're going to do is just work it in. And you tell if it's good or not, you can just pull it apart. And that's it. Next thing you need is a tin. This is one of those tins which the base comes out. You also want some silicone paper on the base of it. That's just to help it lift out easy. Right, and now all we're going to do is roll out our pastry. You need your rolling pin and some flour on the top, and all we're going to do is just roll it out to the size of the tin. And always be prepared to get yourself a knife so you can get under it. That's about right. So we'll just turn them over. Cut around a little bit where it looks a bit odd. Well, next thing you want to do to the pastry is dock it. So I've got myself a fork and we'll just dock it all over. Right, now all we're going to do is roll this up onto the rolling pin. And then we're going to roll it back down over the tin. Okay, it doesn't always go to plan. But that's okay. With this type of pastry, you can just stick it back together. like that. And then we just take off the outside bits. And if there's a little bit you think you've missed there, just fill it in. Now what we're going to do with this now is just pop it into a freezer, just to chill it down a bit. Now whilst the pastry's in the freezer, we'll make up the Bakewell filling. And for your recipe you want 185 grams of butter, 185 grams of castor sugar, 185 grams of ground almonds, and 185 grams of whipped up eggs, and also 20 grams of gluten-free flour. And also you'd probably need a small amount of almond essence. But when we get round to the almond essence, we only want to use a little bit of it. We don't want to turn it into artificialness. And for this recipe, we need a machine. You can do it by hand, but I would suggest you using a machine, which is much better. Also, you do need a beater or one of these creamers. Right, first we'll get our butter into the machine bowl. This is softened. And also your castor sugar. Just fix our beater on. And we'll start this on first speed. I just love these Kenwood mixers. They just shake and rattle and roll. Right, we're now knocking it up onto second speed. We're mixing these two ingredients up so they're nice and light. And usually when they're light, they're white. Not too white because it's obviously butter, but you get me drift. Right, it's starting to look light. So we'll now start adding in our egg. A little bit at a time. You add a little bit and then you let it clear. Whilst this is going round, you want a teaspoonful of almond essence. This is a commercial essence, so it's quite strong. The domestic ones aren't as strong as this. Right, this is ready now. So we'll now pop in our almonds. And our gluten-free flour. Now once again, we just want to fold this in to start with. And now we'll pop this onto first speed. And all we're doing is let the ingredients all blend together. And that's it. You don't need to be too long with that. and just give it a scrape round just to make sure everything is off the bottom. And turn it all in. And there we go. It was as simple as that. And that's your Bakewell filling. Alright, I just got the pastry out of the freezer. So now what we'll do with that, we need to put some cherries in it. This is cherries. Now I've not used this particular before. I usually use glacé cherries, which you can use as well, but they're just sugarized cherries. So I thought I'd do something a little bit special. Cool, and that does smell good. Now what we're going to do is just layer all the base over with the cherries. Now once you've done this, you're going to need to stick it into a freezer because it is quite runny. But this is going to taste really good. We'll pop that into the freezer, and what we want to do is make it actually quite frozen. So our Bakewell filling will just go over the top nice and easy, because at the moment it'll just mush all in together. And it looked like one of those ice creams you were a kid, where you get the chocolate and the white together and you screw it around, and you know what I mean. Anyway, we'll get this into the freezer. As you can see, it's now all nicely frozen down. It just makes it easier to put the Bakewell filling on the top. And all we do is just cover it. And there we go. It's now ready for the oven. Now you're going to be wanting to bake this at around about 170 to 190 Celsius. I'd probably think going on the lower side of things. And you're going to be baking this for 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown and it's nice and firm. Anyway, we'll get into the oven. Bakewell's ready, and we'll get her out the oven. And there she is. That looks absolutely beautiful. And now all we've got to do is let her cool down. And I would say we're going to give her 2 to 3 hours to cool down before we can even touch it. Now our Bakewell's cooled down, all we're going to be doing is dredging the top with icing sugar. Now we've done that, I guess you all want to know what it tastes like. So it needs cutting it. Get yourself a knife and some water. Pop your knife into the water, and that just make it nice and clean for you to cut. Now the question is, what does it taste like? I'm not going to be a pig and have the whole piece. That is absolutely lush. Please subscribe and please share, and don't forget your recipe is below the video in the description, and also you can find it on my Facebook page at Traditional Bakery, and also on my YouTube channel you'll find playlists baking related and non-baking related. And we'll see you very shortly in the Crazy Baker kitchen. Laters!